In this video, I speak with Andy O'Neill and we talk about how to build your own AI SEO workflows using Make.com. We're going to talk about the easy way to do keyword research. We're also going to talk about how you can use Perplexity to research some of the first steps first in order to use inside of your own blog post article as well. And we're going to talk about a really unique way to create blog posts using the ChatGPT assistants with very simple commands, so that if you ever need to update them in future, you only need to make the edit in one place, no matter how many workflows you have. Let's dive in. Is there any extra context we should understand before we dive into sharing the screen and going over this SEO workflow?
The only thing I would say is this is what you'll see today has been 12 or 14 months in the making. It's matured over time, and I'm finally getting to the point where it's really doing well and driving traffic to my website. This is not something I cooked up last weekend. It's been around a bit.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I have seen a sneak peek into what happens here, so I'm excited to share that with everybody as well. But let's dive in and share this screen and let's dive in.
All right. So this is my dashboard for my what I call laser SEO. Why did I call it laser SEO? Because I make up silly names for myself to call stuff that I make. So if this is trademarked somewhere, it's okay. I'll change the name if I have to. So this is what we're looking at here is a knack portal. Knack, if you're not familiar with it, is, I would say, probably the best competitor with Airtable and Softer. So Knack will do what Airtable and Softer will do together, except in one product. And they probably never heard of them because they've been around since 2013, but they have not had the marketing budget, and they've been bootstrapped since that time. So what I've got here is I've got tabs up here. And so there's a process I bring the keywords through to get them to my website. So this is a client of mine, Glow Social. She's building a website for a social media scheduling service. It uses AI to generate the posts. And so I am generating SEO content for her website based on the keywords around her product. And the goal here is not like, if you think about traditional SEO, hey, let's publish 1 or 2 blog posts a week. In this case, we're publishing 100 posts a month. So going from basically 0 until the end of next year, she'll have 13 or 1400 posts in a year's time. And we could even accelerate that. There's no reason we couldn't do more than that. So talking about, instead of 100 posts a year, maybe 1,000 posts per year, because when I look at SEO, every post that is on your site is like a hook in the water that can catch a fish and bring them to your site. So this is a list of keywords that we've come in here. So I have 166 left. So I'm actually running low. It's time to do some keyword research. Basically what happens is these are keywords only. I've got search volume here and competition. This is coming from Keywords Everywhere, which is a keyword service, low cost keyword service compared to like an SEMrush, which you could get the same kind of data. And the way this works is I just go through here and I select keywords that I think are a good fit for her site and for her product. I just click research keyword, and an automation kicks off in the background. We'll look at that in a little bit. And then it goes over here to this tab, and these are the researched keywords. So it also in the process gets matched up with an image. Now I do images differently than probably a lot of people you may have seen on YouTube or whatever. I am not yet a fan of the cost nor the lack of quality for AI generated images. So what I've done here is we've put stock images in here. We have a pool of images of about 90 or 100. And what happens is we just cycle through those images. So every 100th blog post may end up with the same image as the one 100 ago. But the idea is nobody's going to be looking at 2 of these at once. So it's probably not going to matter. And I'll show you the image pool in a little bit. But this gets matched up with an image. So here's my keyword. Here's my search volume, the image. This also tells me the number of times the image was used. So as we get further down the road of images that have been used 8, 10, 12, 15 times, we might take them out of circulation and go get some different stock images in here. I can also reset the image. If for some reason this image just doesn't fit our summary here, I can have it go cycle through and grab the next one. So we get to the research keywords. And so what this does, I have two major automations that run in the background. One of them researches the keyword. So it takes the keyword, it does a Google search on it. It takes that content and creates basically raw content that needs to be rewritten. And this is a summary of that. So when you click write article, this is when you commit to putting the article on your website. Not 100% yet, but that moves it over to this tab. So this tab, each line here represents a fully written article that has been pushed to the WordPress website via the API and is in draft mode. So if I click right here, this is actually post 2577. If I click there, this will actually open the website and take me to that draft post. So up until this point, all I've done is selected keywords. Once those get researched, I click the ones I want. And now I am at the post on WordPress. We're using Yoast SEO, and you can see before I've even touched it, we've got our analysis of the SEO value of this article is pretty high. If you're not familiar with Yoast, when you have green here and here, that means your SEO analysis is good and your readability is good. Every once in a while, AI will generate a post that doesn't have a green or good readability. I don't worry so much about that because some of these topics, especially with SEO, social media marketing and management, can be a little bit more complex, and it's looking at some of the language in the post. But I do want to make sure that this analysis is good whenever possible.
Awesome. Just a quick question on that. The
Uh-huh.
place that you are generating the blog post, so you're not sending it back into NAC, it just goes directly to here. Is that correct?
So the content goes directly to here. Yes, I may be saving the, no, I don't think I'm saving it in NAC, but when I do publish it, I do let NAC know it's published.
Yeah, got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So basically, I'll show you the workflow that I do once I click on that post. Generally, I will do this when I'm watching American football or watching TV. This is fairly mindless work, quite honestly. This is not the amount of work you would have to put into actually writing a post. I will scan the post. And the reason I'm not reading every word is because I've read enough of these word for word that I've come to trust the AI that I've built to write these, and it does a really good job. So I'm going to scan down through here, make sure things are formatted correctly. Right here is a link. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to make sure that actually links somewhere in the site. This is actually part of my workflow. I actually go look for other posts on the site that match the content of this, and it automatically links them here. So that is an important thing with SEO as well. And scroll down here. Now, this is where I typically spend the most amount of time, and it's not a lot of time. The SEO title and the meta description. Now you'll notice we are green on SEO, even though these are red and orange, but I'm going to actually make both of these green, which will make this post even better. So I'm just going to read through this, and I just need to shorten this like by one word. Manager job description. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay. Now you see we have a green right here's our preview on mobile. If we go there, that's the desktop view. Let's see, can I make that? Well, I can't make that wider. So that's the mobile view that this will look like on a Google search. Then I'm going to shorten this as well. Strategies. That's green. Then I'll go up here and hit publish. So even with me doing all that talking, this takes a fraction of the time that it would take to actually write a post. And this one is targeted for social media marketing manager job description. So the idea there is if you're looking for a job description, you might use this product that helps you post to social media.
Very cool. Yeah. Are most of your posts around that size in terms of the words?
Yes. Yeah, they're about this size.
Awesome. Cool.
I know there's some people out there, when I looked at size, length, they like a longer post. Again, to me, and when I think about my browsing habits, I'm generally going to read about half the blog post and either go to the website and learn more about this company or move on. So I'm not so worried about having 2,000 word length posts. Again, this is hooks in the water. Somebody comes here and says, "Hey, this is cool. What is this website?" And they click on the homepage and go check it out. I could be wrong, but that's, we talk about goldfish attention spans on the web. I don't think it has to be super long. The other thing is I will typically write this at I can't remember what I have this set. I'll typically do a LinkedIn post at like a fifth grade reading level and one of these at either fifth or seventh grade. Not that I think my audience is that slow or can't read. I just think if even somebody with a PhD, if they can consume it faster, they'll consume more than if it's written at a PhD level.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Very
And
cool.
then when I publish that, this has already disappeared. But what happens is that sends the signal back to NAC, says, "Hey, that's been published." So it disappears out of my list right here. So that's the closing the loop on how this works. Any
Perfect.
questions on this before we look under the hood?
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of questions once we look under the hood and see how all of that works on surface level. It definitely looks very impressive. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely excited to dive into how these automations work. And I know that you have a few interesting triggers as well.
So we have those two triggers from NAC. We have the research and we have the write article. Both of those actually go through this automation. So if you'll notice, here is the keyword research and here is the write article. And this one down here at the bottom is the reset image, where I said I could recycle the image and go get a new one. That's what that does. So I actually have this contained all in one scenario, just a little bit easier when everything's running in the same place. And so the way this works, so I want to look at this top line, the research line first. This is making a programmatic Google search to actually search the keyword. So this is like me going to the web and browsing, typing in a keyword and hitting enter and getting results. That's what that's doing. And the logic kind of skips here. That's just getting the image. And then what happens is I take those results and I get 10 results by default. And so then I actually go get the web page, which is a file. I'm using a get a file module. I go retrieve the web page. I convert it from HTML to text, and then I'm going to use Perplexity to do keyword research. So I'm going to say, "You're a keyword research assistant. Here is the keyword phrase. I want you to take all of the information from this page and return the relevant content, ideas, and concepts from this page based on our keyword." And then it'll return that and it'll do that the 10 times. I've got to sleep in here just so we don't hit any quotas. And then I put this in here and I aggregate those 10 into one block of text. And then I had that keyword summary. I go back over here. This is the research summary that I basically said, take all of this and just create a research summary so I know what you've researched. And that's created here. And let's see, all of these steps actually take 6 steps to create that linked article in here. So this automatic article that was linked here, it takes those 6 steps to do it. And what that's doing is it's searching the published articles that are already live on the website, and it is aggregating the keywords. So I'm creating a tall list of keywords from the already published posts. And then I'm asking AI, say, I want you to look at this list of keywords and I want you to only output the ones that directly relate to this research. So find ones that you can fit into the article based on this research. And then it outputs a single line, a single column. Basically what I'm doing is I'm creating a single column CSV. So then I can parse that. I can look up the actual articles, aggregate those together. So I'm creating the links and then I'm saving it back to NAC. So again, this is all research before we actually even publish the SEO post.
Very cool.
All right. So this next one is when I've gone over here, and these are my draft posts on the website. Here's where I hit write article, and that goes on this line right here. And I've done something, again, this is where I said this is like a year in the making, because what I'm about to show you is actually about a month and a half old. Because I used to have ChatGPT writing blog posts in segments, which it still does, but I had a separate prompt for each one. And I had it inside the module. And I wanted a better way to do that, because I had people asking me in my community, hey, how are you doing that? And I'm like, I have no way to explain this easily because it's a mess. So what I've done is show this one here. So before I jump into that, so I break this up in several steps. So I have the blog writer. So if you go back over here to this post, this comes from the blog writer. All right. So I have a separate step that creates the bullets and the intro, and a separate step that creates the conclusion. I also have a step that creates this SEO title and this meta description. So that's why I have the different steps. So the first thing I do is I write the blog post, and I have an assistant in a ChatGPT assistant that actually I have one assistant for all of these steps. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. So in my assistant, I have commands. So I have a command in there that says SEO blog post. I say, when this command is used, only do these steps to write the blog post. Here's my focus keyword, my writing guidelines. I didn't get into that much, but I have some writing guidelines that says, this is the company and these are the kind of things they say. Here's the tone and that kind of stuff. That is passed in here. The anchor tag list, that's where I gave it a list of things it can link to other articles to write in there. And then here's my blog research. This is the largest prompt, and you're going to see this in a second. This is the largest prompt I have. So I said, SEO blog post is my command. And that command knows to look for a focus keyword, writing guidelines, anchor tag list, and blog research. It looks for those and it begins writing the post. Now, if we look at this second one, if you've ever used an assistant in ChatGPT, as soon as you message that assistant, it creates a thread. And so as long as you reply and it replies and you reply and it replies, you're on the same thread. And so what I've done is I've created a thread right here in my blog writer, and then I'm going to continue that thread all the way through. So what I've done, my message is key learnings. The only thing I've said to ChatGPT in this step to my assistant is key learnings. And it knows that means grab the text from the previous one and use it to write the key learnings, which I call this up here at the top. This is the key learnings. So it's an opening sentence or two and 4 or 5 bullet points that kind of summarize this post. The next step, it's going to look very similar. Oh, and I missed showing you this here, but let me go down here. Here is my thread ID. So the thread ID is mapped back to you can see it flashing the #1 SEO blog writer. I'm using the same thread all the way through. So the only thing I have to say is SEO post conclusion. And the assistant knows, well, that means I use these instructions and I reference the stuff I got earlier in the thread. And this just continues the same way all the way through. And what that means is I can, even if I get another 4 or 5 or 6 or 20 customers in here, I'm going to use that same assistant and I can go one place and give it another set of instructions to make it better. It kept saying immediately or today. It would put immediately or today at the end of the SEO, every single SEO title. It was driving me crazy. I went to one assistant and I said, don't do this anymore. And it stopped. It stopped for all the different places that I'm generating SEO content.
Yeah, perfect. That's a big thing I talk about is we don't want to be making a lot of changes inside of make.com. Otherwise it becomes very slow and cumbersome. We want to be having somewhere where we can, when we make one change, it it automatically changes the workflow for every brand that we're working with, or a lot of the workflows. So yeah, I love that.
Exactly. And then from here, basically, we're creating the SEO post. I was able to figure out there's zero documentation on this, but I was able to figure out how to use the Yoast SEO API to add these values in there. And there's a video on that on YouTube. So I'm actually programmatically adding this in here. So you didn't see me copying, pasting anything into this page. It was already all there. So that was a huge time saver. Creating the post, getting the image, and I'm getting the file, and I'm creating a media item. So if we go back and look at this image, if you know about SEO, you know that the image, the file name, the title, the description, not so much the description, but the alt text and the file name and the title need to have the keyword in it for it to really count towards SEO. So what that means is every time I post something with this image, a new copy of this image is actually going on the website because it has to match the metadata of the article. You can't just upload this to your website and use it over and over again because it needs to match the article exactly to get the most out of the SEO. So we have social media manager marketing job description. Social media manager marketing job description is in the alt text. It's the title. I actually have a description that doesn't matter, but then it's in the alt text, the title, and you can see right here, the image name is the same thing. So all of those help with your SEO. And that's probably why this was green before I even changed these values. So that's a big thing. Now, the annoying thing is you open up your media library and you see the same image over and over again, but it's just an annoyance.
That's right. Very cool. So just to take it full circle back to the start, you're saying when we first logged into that example, that was just what came entirely from AI. So it came in there with the good rating for SEO. There was those three things, two or three things that you changed. And then that is essentially the post ready to be published, right?
Right. I had not touched this post before. I was hoping I didn't click on one that had some sort of anomaly and really bad issues. But yeah, this was the first time I looked at this post, and you saw everything I would normally do to publish that post.
Yeah, awesome. Very cool. We do use a different way inside of our workflow now based on somebody else in the community or another YouTuber, Nick Sarev. And there's definitely a little bit more editing that needs to go into those ones that we're creating. So I do like this workflow. And it's interesting, when I first started building the blog post workflow, it was along the lines a little bit more similar to yours, where we are doing like the middle part of the content first, then putting in the intro and the conclusion to map it all together. So yeah, very cool to see. But yours is much more elegant. I love it. And some really interesting ways that we can improve the current workflows that we have inside the community as well. One question that I have is, I guess the only downside that I can really see with this workflow is that you must use OpenAI, right? We don't have the option of then writing parts of it with Anthropic or any of these other writing tools. Would that be correct?
If you use the assistant, yes. And I honestly haven't looked. I don't know if Anthropic has a version of that. I don't think they do. But yeah, that would be OpenAI would be what you need to use for this with the assistant piece.
Yeah, cool. And then just the other part that I just wanted to quickly recap was the keyword search. So I'm not sure if we went super deep into that. So just remind me, was that keyword research in the workflow we went through, or is that like a different part of the process as well?
So it's not in the workflow. I'll show you what I did. And I did this like 3 or 4 times to get the keywords I have in the system right now. So I would say, oh, give me a keyword idea.
How to bake bread.
So so that one has 14,800 queries per month, which you'd expect. And so right down here, let's see where to go. I've got keywords everywhere, a plugin and a subscription. And I click find long tail keywords for how to bake bread. So if this is a target I wanted to do, I would click that and this starts generating keywords. And so it gives me the global search volume. This is what I pulled into NAC and the competition right here, which is this is make it a percentage on my site. This is 0.12 out of 1. So this just churns and I can easily copy that into a Google Sheet. I will dedupe it and then I'll pull that into NAC.
Yeah, awesome. I also
So I
use
did this 4 times for the Glow Social stuff. I did exactly what you saw 4 times and waited and pulled that into NAC to get the keywords. And then from there, like I said, that's why it's important. I am selecting keywords out of the list that I put in there because there's probably how to bake bread near me or something like that's probably not a super helpful one. So you pick through the list of the good ones you want and then process again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great tool. I also use it for coming up with ideas for YouTube. So it's, as the name suggests, you can find keywords everywhere, all over the internet as you're searching. Very cool.
I've used SEM Rush, and quite honestly, it's a powerful tool, but it's an overwhelming tool to me. I'm just like, I just want the keywords. Go to this site, and so I feel like this is a easier tool to just like 590 word keyword, 500 keywords on based on how to bake bread that quickly, and
Yeah.
so this is also less expensive than SEM Rush.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually really agree with that premise of I think a lot of these bigger tools have just added features for the feature sake and for the marketing opportunity rather than what we really need, the fundamentals when it comes down to marketing. So yeah,
Right.
any of these tools that make things simpler but still achieve the result that we're looking for, I'm a big fan of. So we are going to dive into some community questions. Hey, thanks for watching. This Q&A section that we're just about to get to is reserved for Massive Moves community members only. So if you're not part of the Massive Moves membership yet, there'll be a link down below where you can learn about it. But it's a community of entrepreneurs and builders who want to be on the leading edge when it comes to AI automation. So part of the Big Moves marketplace that we're building is an educational community as well, where we learn about automations. We have different product lab sessions, technical support sessions, as well as expert masterclasses just like this. And as part of the membership, you get access to these live masterclasses where you can ask questions to the guest experts as well. Plus, we have credits and discounts and deals and so much more. So go ahead and check that out now, and we'll see you in the next video.